No, but with the caveat that things are extremely fluid right now. I think it is positive that President Trump mentioned the letter from Xi. It's positive that Xi sent a letter. It shows that the atmosphere is not so poisonous as to prevent the two sides from talking. And it gives a little bit of positive goodwill heading into Vice Premier Liu He's meeting this afternoon and this evening. But you can look at President Trump's other comments, as your reporters pointed out, and they point to a president who is quite steadfast in his determination that, to some extent, no deal is better than a weak deal at this point. So I would say very modestly positive, but I don't think this is a game changer. We will just have to see. I still think there's ample reason to be cautious right now.
David, what are your thoughts at this point, given all the developments, and are the markets right to have gone from a down 400-point session on the Dow to almost flat at this point?
Well, I think the market's overreacting both on the downside and the recovery right now. But I think what happens today is the talks progress. There is a statement late in the day that says we're going to hold off on the tariffs for now. We're still going to have that dangling sword over people's heads, but we're going to hold off for now. I don't think Trump has the kind of appetite for market volatility that he's seen in the last week or so. The market has showed him loud and clear what they think about additional tariffs. And I think he's going to be reminded that consumers and companies pay tariffs, countries don't. And so this pain is hurting U.S. companies as well as U.S. consumers.
Michael, there is some significance in the fact that the president will have a phone call with President Xi. Do you think that's a sign that the two leaders themselves will be involved in hammering out or maybe even sealing some kind of trade deal?
Well, I think this has to be handled to some extent at the level of the leaders. The Chinese vice premier is unable to break the impasse on his own. And it looks like really the nub of the issue right now is this U.S. insistence that China make changes to its laws as part of this trade deal, which really gets to China's own feelings of sovereignty and its resistance to being bullied by the U.S. or other foreign powers. So these are the kind of issues where the Trump-Xi channel is going to be critical. Now, Xi's not going to be in D.C. today, which means that Trump will not have to face him and may decide to go ahead even if there's a positive meeting today. But I think one thing we should look for is, if there is escalation, how well is that channel working? Is there, for example, the opportunity for Trump and Xi to meet at the G20 meeting at the end of June, which will be, I think, a really important opportunity for the two sides to de-escalate the trade dispute if it escalates from here.
President Trump, David, has said that a deal by Friday is possible. At the same time, you know, the Wall Street Journal points out that Vice Premier Liu has been, I don't want to say demoted, but his title is of special envoy to President Xi has been taken back. Should we read anything into that in terms of his ability to actually make progress in these talks?
Well, what we're hearing is that many of the concessions that were being made at the negotiating table went back and got reviewed by Beijing, and they felt like they were going too far. We have to remember that this month is a centenary of the May 4th protests, which was a major anti-imperialist and pro-strong China movement in 1919. And I just don't think Xi can be seen as conceding the sovereignty of China at this point. They can't have the U.S. dictating what gets written into their laws. And I think that was the wake-up call that took place when these negotiations got back to Beijing. And the powers that be in Beijing said, whoa, wait a minute, that's going too far.